This person says, yes, but also hitting a grand slam is much harder than a bicycle kick. Getting a perfect game is also much harder than a bicycle kick. And guys, I just have to say, if there is anything baseball fans are the very best in the world at, it's goalpost shifts. They are the best in the world at shifting the goalpost so they can feel like they're always winning the argument and baseball is the more difficult sport. But let's actually look at this. Is hitting a grand slam harder than scoring a bicycle kick? No, it's not. And here's why. For starters, hitting a grand slam is literally equally as difficult as hitting a home run for the actual task you're doing. The only difference is the grand slam requires bases being loaded prior, but that doesn't change the difficulty of the actual athletic task. I mean, that would be like me saying it's more difficult to score a bicycle kick when it's the game-winning goal opposed to the fifth goal in a 5-0 blowout. That's not really true. The difficulty of the task is identical in both situations. But when we look at it, which one is actually more difficult, a home run or a bicycle kick? Well, home runs happen in almost every Major League Baseball match for a reason. They're difficult, very, very difficult, don't get me wrong, but they're not that difficult. They're more comparable to scoring a goal in soccer than they are a bicycle kick. And bicycle kicks, many of the very best attacking players in the world maybe score one bicycle kick in their entire career. There are some exceptions that have scored multiple bicycle kicks, but they are the exception, not the norm. Then let's look at the biomechanics of it. The biomechanics of hitting a home run are actually relatively simple. You're swinging the bat and you have to have good connection with the ball. So it requires very good eye-hand coordination, very good reaction time, and some power in a rotational pattern that will hit the ball to produce enough power that it gets over the wall. Yes, this takes some skill, it takes some athleticism, not taking anything away from it. But does it even compare to a bicycle kick? No. The bicycle kick, for starters, is substantially more biomechanically complex. You have to jump off one leg, scissor motion in the air while turning backwards and connecting cleanly enough with the ball to have it go towards the goal with enough placement and power to beat a goalkeeper. But not only that, unlike in baseball, there are active defenders trying to stop you from being able to perform this. You have defenders that are jumping up and trying to get in the way of you being able to perform this task by heading the ball out before it gets to you, trying to block it, and then you have a goalkeeper that you have to beat. Baseball just does not have active defense in anywhere near the same way as soccer. The scoring a bicycle kick is just substantially more athletic, more complex, and more difficult, period. Now, what about pitching a perfect game? Once again, huge goalpost shift. Pitching a perfect game isn't a singular task. It is multiple different tasks over an entire game, most of which, let's be honest with ourselves, since hitting is so hard in baseball, that means pitching is actually among the easier tasks on a single case-by-case basis. Most at-bats end in strikeouts, right? So, or they get caught out or they get thrown out at first base, something like that. So, by default, each of these individually tasks are easier than a bicycle kick, which is a singular event. So, it would be a more fair comparison to judge a full match performance like scoring a hat trick versus throwing a perfect game. And guess which one's probably harder? Probably scoring a hat trick. And there are different types of hat tricks. There's what's called a perfect hat trick, which is right foot, left foot, and a header. That's way, way harder than throwing a perfect game. Guys, at the end of the day, you can like baseball, you can think it is a fun sport, you can enjoy it, you can prefer it to soccer. All of these things are purely subjective. But one thing you can't just claim is that baseball is harder than soccer or that hitting major league pitching is the hardest thing in all sports and harder than anything in soccer, then literally just have no real world evidence, logic, or reason to back it up, and then get upset when people prove you wrong.